Welcome to my review of the Roxio Game Capture Card HD Pro. Today I'm going to talk about what came with the box, the price, my experiences and the setup of the device itself. You have the Roxio Game Capture Card HD Pro. Capture software installation disc. USB power cord. Finally, you have the Roxio installation and setup guide. It's not the best. It works best for Xbox 360 users, as you can see here. This is a very simple layout and how to set up your Roxio to your PC and to your TV. And that's what comes with the box. The pricing. Now, the Roxio Game Capture Card HD Pro is the cheapest card on the market. I bought mine on Amazon Market for £99 and it ranges between £99 to £120. Obviously, you can get the Elgato for about £120 to £150, and then you've got the other more higher level capture cards at a greater price. And what are you getting with £99? Well, expect the price to reflect the product. For starters, the device itself is plastic. You don't really feel like there's a great deal of quality with the device and with how it's built. It looks nice, it's sleek, it's simple, but it definitely has a sort of a flimsy feel to it. But the device itself only comes with what you see here. You don't get the extra cables with it, you do have to buy that yourself. So essentially you are looking at about £120, £130 altogether anyway, which is £20 shy of the Elgato at its lowest price. Having said that, the PS3 is the only one that has that problem. The Xbox 360, you can just plug in the Xbox HD cable into the Roxio, and then obviously from the back plug it into the TV, and it's very simple setup. This actually I don't think is very PS3 user friendly. PS3 users, however, you have to use a component cable for your input, and then you'll either use a AV component cable for output or a HDMI cable for output as well. You cannot record HDMI necessarily directly from the PS3 into your Roxio. There's a HD PC protection that you can't get around at all. So what that meant for me as a user, it meant I had to fish around and shop around for an extra AV component cable and an extra HDMI cable, which was a pain in the ass. Now, obviously, there are places and reviews that tell you that you will have to fork out for that, so do bear that in mind. I know the Elgato, for a fact, comes with all the cables necessary to make the recordings, so that's where your price changes quite significantly. Let's quickly go through this setup. Now, this is predominantly for PS3 users. I'm a PS3 user, not an Xbox user. Nothing against Xbox, just never got one. Now, for those of you who are Xbox users, it's a very simple setup. You'll either have your HDMI cable or your AV component cables, and then it will go from the output into your TV. And that setup is very simple. You won't have any problems. You can record in HD, full HD. It's not a problem. For the PS3 users of you out there, you're going to have 3 different options which are not covered in this manual. The manual only covers one setup, and it's the basic setup. So hopefully this will help you. Hopefully this will shed some light on for those of you who are a little bit stuck or confused or not really sure what to expect. So here we have the setup for number 1, and this is how it's going to look. So on the input side of your Roxio, you have your HDMI cable and then your component cables. PS3 will have your HDMI cable and component cable, and then on the output you have your HDMI cable and your component cables. So the HDMI cables will increase the signal input and output from the PS3 to your TV. I was going through 720p, which was still good enough, but obviously it just cleared the picture a lot more and allowed for a better signal pickup. Okay, for setup number 2, what you'll need is your AV component cable. I've left that plugged in. You'll need your HDMI lead. The second side of your lead won't go into the Roxio, but in fact into your HDMI port and the back of your TV. So let's pretend that's going to the back of your TV TV for the time being. You'll also need your power plug, and that's essential. That will be plugged into your PC. Now, with this one, you will be required to do a little bit of changing on the display unit. Okay, so what that means is you need to start your PS3. You'll then have to go to your settings and go to your display settings. You'll need to change your input in the display settings from HDMI to AV component cable. Because once you've done that, you'll then need to take this port, remember the other one's in the TV, you'll need to take the one from the back of the PS3 and plug it into your output of the Roxio. So that's the HDMI from the back of the PS3 into the output of your Roxio game capture card. Now I don't think, if I remember correctly, I didn't have to change the HDMI channel, I just had to take that and plug it in here, because what will happen is the PS3 will register the component cable as the input source of the video capture. This will be the external source for the TV to register the signal through the Roxio. Okay, so this acts as a pass-through. So that's setup number 2, a much more simple setup with just your component cable, HDMI and USB port. This is setup number 3. Now this is probably the second most simplistic. What you have is your component cable from the PS3 to the Roxio, and then you have your component cable from the Roxio to the TV. So this will always act as your pass-through. And that should be a fairly simple setup to do. There shouldn't be any problems with that. Just again, change the video display settings on your PS3 to the correct functions, and then you should be away with that. Those are the 3 different steps you can take to set up your Roxio game capture card. Fingers crossed one of them works for you. There may be a slight need to do different things in different orders. For instance, have the program, the software running before you set up everything, start the PS3, then change the display settings. An order like that should help you a little bit more. Well, expect what you're paying for. £99 seems reasonable, and it is to an extent. However, I found that when I used the software, I found the software to be horribly unstable. My partner has a brand new PC which is 3 months old, and it actually caused her laptop to crash several times. It's a nice piece of equipment, but I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And one of the things that really bugs me about this product, expect an extreme amount of cables from this. You've got 2 AV component cable ins and outs. You've got HDMI cables, you've got USB cables. So you're going to have a spaghetti junction at the end of this. It's not going to be a neat looking machine, and I'm sure a lot of you won't care, but for me that just became a pain in the ass. It's sitting in my lounge and it just looks like a mess, and I don't like mess. So for me, again, that was a bit of a bad aspect of it. I spent a long time trying to set this up. Not just, you know, the cabling was one issue, then I had to set up the software, uninstall, reinstall. The end result was that it took much longer for me to get this to work, and I'm absolutely sure there are some of you out there who are saying, oh, you probably did this wrong, or you probably did this wrong. But the fact is, my experience has been less than perfect. It's been less than decent. I would not have expected that from a product that's at £99. So I really don't think that was worth my money or my time. And unfortunately it did take a lot of time to get it even started. And saying that, I still didn't actually get that much footage captured, and eventually when I got something captured and then I had to edit it, I actually gave up on the editing process because I just found the software to be too unruly and temperamental. So overall that wasn't a great experience for me. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it's a nice, simple product that most users of it have said works well, captures well, easy to set up, and easy to use. In my experience, it hasn't been. I think I've drawn the short straw on this one and found that it's 1 in, I don't know, 10 people have a cocked up machine, and I maybe have a cocked up machine or just a useless ability to understand technology. So I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5, unfortunately. I'm sure for a lot of you out there, you're enjoying it, and I'm sure you're catching great footage and continue to do so. In this case, for me, the Roxio really let itself down, and you know, just everything about it was weak. Just a weak product. I'm waiting to try my Elgato. I'm very excited. Fingers crossed it's going to be a lot better. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed that. Hope it's been helpful. If there are any comments or questions you want to ask, please leave them in the comment section at the bottom, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.